Yeah, little quick B-Day podcast episode, boy. How y'all doing today, though?
Good, good, good. Happy birthday, boy. Once again,
Happy
happy birthday.
birthday. Yes,
Appreciate that.
sir.
Appreciate that.
Anything
Uh,
special today? Or no, just school.
I ain't gonna lie, I skipped all my classes. So I
That's
wasn't able
right.
Busy.
Birthday.
Okay.
to. Okay. All right.
This
All right,
year,
y'all. We're
Jordan,
gonna
you're
start it
right.
off with the holiday games. I know we all watched the good football over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
Start off with the upset: Green Bay, Detroit. Um, my takeaway from the game is that Jordan Love is actually good, right? He'll probably be good next year. The Packers are solid in the quarterback position. Detroit defense is sus, very, very, very sus. Jared Goff is still a gunslinger. I'm gonna still have faith in him. He's been to the Super Bowl, but what's y'all takeaways from the game?
Yeah, I was surprised that Green Bay Packers have. Last week they played great as well. This week they played great. Jordan Love, like you said, has been pretty impressive so far. Um, honestly, Packers defense came to play better. I'd say was the highlight of the game. I mean, they forced fumbles. Um, wasn't really much of a. I mean, it was a typical Jared Goff game, but no interceptions. Lucky for him, but 3 sacks once again. So I mean, Packers aren't going to make playoffs. It's looking like
Yeah,
Lions are
no.
still favored right now, but uh, I don't think Lions are going to be able to if they don't solidify up this defense, figure that out. I'm not sure that they're going to make it far in the playoffs either.
I just think that their offense is has enough firepower to get a win in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I feel like right now the top teams, Ravens, Eagles, teams like that, their defenses and offenses are solid. And I feel like you're at this time in the NFL, you need both a solid defense and offense. Lions, you're right. The offense is there. Their defense is. I don't think it's good enough to contend with any of the top dogs right now.
Fair enough. What you got, Dalton?
Yeah, Packers play well. I do love the trio of wide receivers they got growing there with Watson and then Dobbs and what's the other guy, Reed. They all played very well. Very high-powered trio there. Honestly, that they're building. Obviously, Jordan Love being a young upcoming quarterback as well. It looks like the Packers are the eighth seed right now in the NFC. They could sneak into the playoffs. It's going to be them or the Vikings. It looks like, and it looks like the Vikings are kind of starting to tremble down a little bit. So I think the Packers will give them a run for their money. I think I'm kind of eating my own words right now because I did predict the Vikings would actually win that division over Detroit just 3 or 4 weeks ago. So now I have to go back on my word. And it looks like the Packers are actually heating up. They have a very big game against the Chiefs this week. We'll see we'll get to that later. But I will say that I will go on what Curtis was saying, though. I think the Lions honestly do have a pretty decent defense. Obviously, they do have, hit and miss games, but I think overall, Dan Campbell would have their team ready come playoff time as far as the defense side goes.
And they have like a 2-game lead on the Vikings. So I mean, it's not really a case of whether they'll make it. But yeah, as far as getting a win in the playoffs, it's a question mark.
Yeah. You guys think the Packers will get in?
No, I don't think the Packers are getting in. And honestly, I'm not sure where you're getting the Lions defense is solid.
Actually, as of right now, Packers are on the bubble A seed right now.
Really.
Yeah, right behind the
Yep.
Vikings.
That's what I was saying. It's
Yeah, I
them or
think
the
the
Vikings.
Vikings are gonna keep in mind. Vikings. Justin Jefferson comes back this week. If him and Dobbs sync up, they're gonna get another
Okay, but
defense.
also think about this. I mean, we'll get into them a little later, but the Seahawks, they're about to have a tough schedule. They're 6-5 at the 6th seed. I actually think they'll drop out of it,
Really?
but we'll get into that. Next game, Cowboys, Commanders. Obviously, the game nobody really wanted to see. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. I'm biased, but Dallas runs away, beats another bad team, gets garbage time points. Dak Prescott looking good, defense looking good. They still haven't beat a team over 500 all season. I wouldn't say fraud watch. I just believe that they won't really. I mean, they have Thursday night against Seahawks. We'll see how they do that. I think they'll win that game pretty handily. And then we got the Eagles. They'll have a they'll actually have a longer break, right? They play Thursday night. They'll have another half a week to prepare.
Mhm.
Eagles will be coming off the tough game. What's your thoughts on that game?
If we're talking about the Cowboys Commanders, we talk about the Eagles. Now we'll go to
Yeah,
talk about.
you said what?
I said I'm gonna just recap real quick on the Cowboys Commanders real quick, just to highlight on the because I like it once again. Cowboys looking good. As long as they keep on playing like this, Dak Prescott's not entirely accurate, but their defense is there. Their defense is solid. Their running game's incredible as well. As long as Cowboys are playing like this, I think that Eagles are going to be in trouble coming a week and a half. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, they've, like you said, they haven't beat a team over 500. But the way that they're synchronizing right now. I mean, their wideout game is just incredible. Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. I mean, they're all getting even shares of averaging about 70 yards each a game right now. I'm not sure the Eagles have the corners to stop all that. Running game's not entirely all there, but I mean, it's hard to. Dak Prescott's pretty quick on the ground. I think Eagles have it in them next week. I think it's going to be a much closer game than what y'all are thinking. I know they haven't really shown themselves against a tougher opponent, but I think Cowboys might surprise them this in a week and a half.
Well, I'll tell you right now that the Dallas at home. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have just a little fear, and it's only gonna be close because it's the divisional opponent. But the reason and the sole reason that the Eagles will dominate in 2 weeks is because Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback. All right, he's not. I don't care what the stats say. Garbage time points. They were barely beating the Commanders until the second half. And then once they get that touchdown to go up over the score, 28 to whatever the man, they're just getting garbage time points, right? We could schedule how many second half points they got or how many short field touchdowns the Dallas Cowboys can get, and they're just gonna stack up and up. But what do you got, Dalton?
I'm going to give Dallas their props on this. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, I hate to talk good about the Cowboys, but the Cowboys did handle the Commanders very well, something that the Eagles could not do twice this season. We struggled against them both times, dogfights that we could have lost very easily. I think I wouldn't say Dak Prescott isn't a top 10 quarterback. I wouldn't have him in the top 5, but I could argue that he's top 8, and at least in the top 10. I think Dak's having a great year. Obviously, they haven't beat a good team, but they're going to have their opportunities in the coming weeks. I don't, as an Eagles fan, I hate to talk great on the Cowboys, but I got to be, real and honest. Even Stephen A will talk good about the Cowboys when, the evidence is there. I don't see the Eagles beating them in Dallas in a week and a half. I think that's where, I think the Eagles will come up short there, even though I'm going to be cheering for the Eagles, of course, but I do think that Dallas will beat Philly in Dallas. Overall, though, Dallas, they beat up on a bad team, typical Dallas shit. So I'll give them their props, and I'm not going to be biased and say that Dallas is not a good team, but we'll see in the coming weeks, though.
By the way, just to get your point, you said you'll have them top 8. I'll just name them right now: Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud. I would even take Jared Goff. I might even take Matthew Stafford over Dak Prescott. And we also got Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, who is hurt. I can just go on and on.
You're talking about this season, Josh Allen, or previous Josh Allen?
Josh Allen was the gunslinger in the Eagles game.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, but he played well.
Hold on. I would say Dak Prescott is better than Josh Allen is this season. I will say Dak Prescott's better than Justin Herbert is this season as well. And I guess I'd put him in the top 8 right now. But I'll look at it this way. Let's say if Dallas would have scored at the goal line against Philly, Dak would definitely be leading in MVP voting right now. He would be the favorite to win.
Oh, for sure. If he didn't put that foot out of bounds, it changes.
Yeah.
Right. But it's those mistakes that he makes that leave much to be desired.
Yeah. That's why I can't say he's not top 8 because, I mean, he's the MVP of the league right now if they were to beat the Eagles.
MVP?
Yep.
Interesting.
He's playing better than Lamar Jackson is. And if we're going off stats, we're going to go with – you're going to think Lamar, you're going to think Jared Goff, you're going to think Dak Prescott this season. As far as if you're looking at stats, and then obviously C.J. Stroud as well.
Okay.
CJ Stroud.
And I'm an Eagles homer. But I'm just going to be real as far. If you're going to go off stats, now if you're going to say, overall, the body of work with the wins, you got to look at Jalen Hurts and you got to look at Lamar Jackson. But, Dak Prescott's just right there with him and, C.J. Stroud as well.
Okay. I'll take that. Next game, a route. Niners Seahawks. I thought it would be closer. Seahawks added some depth. They still couldn't handle the Niners. Niners looking hot. Brock Purdy, Debo having a good game. McCaffrey still the top running back in the league, leading the league in rushing yards. Of course, they got the Eagles next week. What's y'all thoughts on the Niners? And then a question for both of y'all. With the Seahawks having this upcoming schedule, let me read it off real quick. Cowboys, Niners one more time, the Eagles, and then the Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. Right, I said earlier they might drop out of the playoffs just because of that stretch. But what's y'all thoughts? Let's start off with the Niners.
Start off with the Niners.
Yeah.
See, this is what the Niners have needed to look like the entire season. If they look like this the entire season, they'd be 8-3 right now. I mean, Brock Purdy is showing what he needed to show. He had that 4 weeks of just bad play. He played great the first probably 5 games, turned it down, and it was just disappointing to watch the 49ers. Last few weeks they've been playing great, which is great. This is the 49ers that they needed. Their defense has always been solid with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. Oh, it's a hard to stop offense as well. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is, like you said, the best running back in the NFL right now. It's hard to even argue that by any means.
In the ground and in the air.
Yeah, maybe, but it seems no matter what team Christian McCaffrey goes on, he's the highlight of the team. And right now he's the highlight of the 49ers, even with the defense having, I think, an average of 21 points allowed this season, which is crazy. So I feel like the 49ers have their schedule's not easy, but I feel like if they keep on heading this up, they could, they could make it all the way. I don't think Seattle has a chance really at all at this point. Yeah, it looks like Seattle.
Especially with the way, because Geno can't play against man coverage, right? That was very, very apparent, right? Man coverage, he is ass. Like, it's the stat. I seen some stat. It was like he damn near has like under 200 yards or something for the season against it or whatever. But what do we got on the Seahawks though, Curtis?
The Seahawks, I'm not. Yeah, I think they've been overrated. Honestly, I've never been a fan of the Seahawks this entire season. I think Geno Smith has been overrated this entire season. I think he's had his highlight plays, but I don't think the Seahawks have anything special right now. I mean, their rookie that they just got, the Smith Nyagba. I don't want to butcher it, but that one-handed catch that he had was pretty crazy. That was definitely a good pickup that they had. I'm pretty sure like a 3rd or 4th rounder. So they definitely have the wideouts that they need. The Seahawks do currently. I don't think Geno Smith is going to be a franchise quarterback though.
What you got, Dalton?
I'll start with like you said, the 49ers. Not wanting to buy into their hype yet, just because they have not beat. They haven't beat the Eagles. They haven't beat. They got the Ravens later on in the year. They lost probably their toughest opponent this year, I would say, was Joe Burrow and the Bengals earlier in the year. They lost that one by 2 touchdowns. And obviously,
They blew out the Cowboys, though.
they did blow out
Blew
the
them out.
Cowboys, but the Cowboys haven't beat the 49ers in 25 years. So I don't want to say that I don't want to say anything there as far as the Cowboys win. I think that we will see what the 49ers are this week. This is obviously the end-all be-all as far as the NFC goes. Typically, we're looking at the two best teams in NFC. They're playing there in Philly. You know, there's a pretty good chance that this will be the NFC Championship game rematch. You know, as an Eagles fan, I'd rather play the 49ers over the Cowboys or the Lions in the playoffs just because I don't want the air raid attack. I trust the 49ers to slip up offensively more than I trust the Cowboys or the Lions. So I think I look at the 49ers, you know, they're right there, but I ain't going to give in or buy into the hype just yet.
Very nice. Let me just say about the Niners. They were saying, you know, like, is Brock Purdy a top 10 quarterback? Is he top 15? I mean, I guess when you put the 3 losses, but they had injuries, you can just say that Brock Purdy right now is just a system QB, just based off the performance, you know, with or without the injuries. I mean, you have a healthy squad, you're producing. You don't have a healthy squad, you don't know what you're doing out there. You're getting pressured, you're throwing bad passes. So as of right now, he's playing like a top 10 quarterback, but he is only a system quarterback. I wouldn't say a franchise quarterback. What y'all think?
Brock Purdy? No, I think Brock Purdy is I think Brock Purdy could stay for a while. I'm gonna be honest with you. The last quarterback.
You think he going like a 10-year run with the Niners, or is he doing like a Garoppolo run?
Nah, see, that's what I was about to bring up. I believe this is a much brighter light than Garoppolo was, and they won the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. I think as long as they keep their solid defense, it really just depends on them keeping that defensive coordinator that they have. As long as they don't change anything up back there, I feel like any quarterback, Brock Purdy don't they still have Trey Lance? I believe both of them are better.
No, they traded Lance to the Cowboys.
That's right. Even so, I believe as long as Brock Purdy stays healthy, he's much better than Garoppolo. I believe as long as Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, which is iffy. Christian McCaffrey is a very injury-prone running back.
He's been healthy for like 16 straight games. He had that one nick up. I mean, but compared to the Panthers, I mean, he's
definitely better than how he was on the Panthers. Yeah, definitely a.
I think it's the line, right? He had a better line. He's more protected, right? So
no.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy's there to stay. I think Brock Purdy's their franchise quarterback for now.
What about you, Dalton?
I think he is more. I'm going to lean more towards the idea that he is a system quarterback. But the thing is, he is managing the system better than, you know, any other system quarterback you would say in the league right now. He's playing better than, you know, the Geno Smiths. You know, it takes a good quarterback still to work in a, you know, a good system. I mean, hell, there's teams that have a shit ton of talent. Hell, last year, you know, Jalen Hurts got hurt. You know, Minshew came in. We still had all the weapons, and we couldn't get nothing done. So there are system quarterbacks that are important that, you know, not every quarterback can step into San Francisco and be great. I think that's where we get the idea that system quarterbacks, anyone could just jump in and be a good quarterback there because, you know, you can argue that the Jets have some solid, you know, talent on offense, but Zach Wilson couldn't get nothing done. So it's not just like you step in and you're automatically going to be good because you have weapons. It takes a good, you know, game manager, you know, making the right reads when he needs to. Obviously, he doesn't have to be the hero in every game. You know, you can look at Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have to be the hero in every game. I mean, he can be, but he doesn't have to be. Now, I don't think Brock Purdy has that can be the hero aspect to him just because he doesn't have, you know, just exceptional.
Yeah, we haven't seen many games where he's come from behind, huh?
Because he doesn't have to. That's a lot of things. He manages the team. Yeah. He has the good team around him. He doesn't have to really play in a dogfight. And we're going to see that probably this week when he has to play Philly. And then obviously later in the year, I don't want to talk about it too much now, but I know you're going to be excited for that game against Baltimore.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But you speaking about the Jets, let's move on to Dolphins Jets. 34-13. Dolphins look good. They got a nice little schedule slate. Titans then the Jets again. Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. I would actually catapult Dolphins back up just a little bit, right? Everyone thought that 70-point win on the Broncos was, like a kick in the ass, but for a bad team. But then the Broncos are over here winning 5, 6 straight. So I think that win gets a little escalated for the Dolphins. They still need to pack together some more wins, but they got the offensive talent. We all know that they can drop 30 quicker on any team just with the talent they got with Tyreek, A Chain, Mostard going up crazy, Curtis. But what you got as far as the ceilings for the Dolphins?
See, I think the Dolphins are going to beat out Buffalo. I think they are going to end up being probably the 4th seed. I don't see them beating Jacksonville or Kansas City for the 2nd or 3rd seed. I don't think Buffalo is even going to make the playoffs this year, if I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think they've shown out anything, so I think the Dolphins are safe to make the playoffs as of right now. Speaking of just this game this week, though, I mean, they started off the first quarter with that 10-0. Jets, excuse me, Jets offense really wasn't anything exciting this week.
Yeah, Tim Boyle's not a good quarterback. They don't have a good quarterback at all right now.
Yeah. I'm not even. Let me see playoff predictions. Yeah, Jets aren't even. Yeah, Jets aren't going to make the playoffs this year anyway, so it doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers comes back or not. Even if he does come back in the upcoming weeks, Jets aren't going to make the playoffs. So focusing on Dolphins, if we're going to be honest, Tua didn't really even have a great game this week anyways. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was 21 for 30, but nothing exceptional by any means. Tyreek Hill is his usual Tyreek Hill self. I mean, how do you stop that man? Luckily, Mostert came out to play this week as well, which they do need a little bit more, less, I would say, self-reliance on Tyreek Hill. Right now, I think they're way too reliant on Tyreek Hill. I think he needs to fit into more of a Chiefs role, where obviously the primary target, but you do have still a few options on the wideouts to where if he does get double teamed, you have the quick slants to an easy 10 yards. I'm not sure the Dolphins have figured that out yet, and I'm not sure they will figure that out this year. The running game's nothing really exceptional. I'm not sure Dolphins are any threat in the playoff either. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'll just disagree only because I mean, yeah, they are using Hill a lot, but at the same time they're using Waddle a lot too. Like it's literally every other week the usage rate goes up,
Mm-hmm.
right? I also think that with A Chain coming back, you have the 2 back with him, Mostart. You have 3 good wideouts. I don't know about who's the tight end for the Dolphins. I don't even know. But either way, that offensive firepower is enough to shoot out anybody, right? It's like that Bills team, what was it, 2, 3 years ago? Something like that, where they were just shooting out everybody, scores were close, defense was lacking. I mean, now the Bills defense is obviously a lot better, but that's just how I compare it to that Dolphins team. As far as getting a win in the playoffs, if they're the 4th seed, who they facing?
They play
Steelers right now is predicted.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with a coin toss on that one on the win. Right, it's more of how they feeling, how hot they are. I mean, any given Sunday. But Dalton, what you got on them?
Yeah, I'll start with Dolphins did play great. Obviously, another beatdown of a bad team. They're a lot like Dallas as far as what we've seen so far this year. Which funny thing is they do play each other later in the year, so that'll be the who's going to beat the good team bowl. I will say that I think that the Dolphins will win a playoff game this year because outside of Kansas City and Baltimore, I really don't think there's a team in the AFC that's going to beat Miami as far as in the playoffs. I mean, obviously they're going to run into either Pittsburgh week 1 or in the wild card round, I guess, or they're going to run into either Cleveland, Houston, or Denver. So I think they're better than all of those teams. I think Buffalo actually gets in the playoffs. I know I kind of skipped over that. I don't think Indianapolis gets in the playoffs, and I don't think Cleveland gets in either. So I think it's going to be I think the Bills will get in, and the Broncos will sneak in as well. And I think Pittsburgh probably holds their place there for the wild card spots. So I think I'll give Miami, like a B+ rating. They're a product of just a weaker AFC division right now, just because the quarterbacks keep getting hurt. So I think they'll end up in the Final Four of the playoffs.
Wow, fine. No, I disagree completely. I think they beat the Steelers, maybe. Besides that, I think they lose to Jacksonville. I think they lose to the Browns. I think the Browns actually beat them by a decent amount.
Hold on. You still got the Browns going to the playoffs? You still think the Browns will get in?
Oh, Browns are still making the playoffs 100%.
That's crazy. With Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Absolutely.
Browns are still – it doesn't matter what quarterback you put in right there. Call in Tim Tebow for all I care. It doesn't matter what quarterback you put in for the Browns right now. With their running game and their defense that they have, it's not even close. I think just with those two factors alone, the running game and their defense, I think Buffalo doesn't stand a chance. I think even Pittsburgh might get knocked out. I think Colts don't stand a chance either. I do think that you're right about the Broncos, though. I think the Broncos will sneak back in. They've been playing great the past few weeks, but yeah, no, I think the Browns stand a better chance than making top 4 than Dolphins do as of right now.
Yeah. I'll say that the last team that the Chiefs would want to see would be the Denver Broncos. So I think the Chiefs are praying that Denver does not get in the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, they'd be the 7th seed, it's looking like, as long as – well, honestly, I keep on doubting Pittsburgh. Like, the Pittsburgh miracle is not a thing. It's hard to – I can't put any doubt into Pittsburgh not making it with how –
It's just Kenny Pickett, bro. Like, they give him he has, like, sprouts where he's good, and then the other sprouts, I'm like, oh, this is ass. Who is this? Like –
I'd say, yeah.
And also, it just feels like they don't like each other. Like, they don't like each other on offense. You know what I mean? Like, Pickens will always be angry. Deontay Johnson, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh's ranked 27th in offense right now.
Yeah.
Their defense is ranked 28th. I'm sorry, 24th.
They were getting outgained every game until, like, a couple of games ago. So,
yeah. Honestly, since we're talking about the AFC right now, this has to be the year that it would be a complete, utter failure if Baltimore or, I say the Dolphins as well, or even the Bills can't make it to the Super Bowl, because this is the year that, Burrow's out and the Chiefs look beatable. So as far as the AFC goes, I think it's do or die for, your Buffaloes, your Baltimores, your Miamis, I feel like right now, because this is probably going to be your best chance of getting in before, Houston gets some more weapons and, Joe Burrow comes back around and Kansas City figures it out. Because this is the weakest Kansas City team that we've seen probably in 5 years.
And the only reason that they're weak is because they're 32nd in drop passes.
Yep.
If they could catch the ball, I think they'd be first seed over Baltimore right now.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that's very fair. And the Chiefs, I mean, they find new ways to win. It's like the Eagles, right? And then we'll get into the Ravens game, but the Ravens offense is looking stagnant. But next game on the slate, New Orleans, Atlanta. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to let Dalton take this over because my New Orleans ain't looking good for the division. So I got nothing else to say. New Orleans is not winning that division. Derek Carr is not a fun quarterback to watch. Give me Jameis all day, actually. What's y'all thoughts on it? Real quick, Bijan, they finally get into the goal line. What do you have, 2 touchdowns?
Yep. Receiving touchdown and
Bijan
rushing touchdown.
activated for the Falcons. So as long as they just start intervetting the rookies, London, Pitts, Bijan, Falcons, yeah. But what y'all got?
Honestly, I hate the fact that I have to take this over because I know you're over here pissed off at the Saints. They ain't done shit, but you look at Tampa Bay and they're right there behind them, not doing anything They're doing less than even the Saints are. It looks like Atlanta might take the division by default, and it's sad that one of these teams has to get in. It's almost like the NFC East a couple of years ago. I think the Eagles got in with 7 wins. It was ridiculous, but yeah, I don't think that the Saints aren't a very good team. I know Jameis Winston. I don't know. I don't really know who the better option is for quarterback there in New Orleans. I don't think Tampa Bay's got any sort of options there. Atlanta, they look like the most decent team. I mean, they've played well in almost every game they've played in. It's just, they have quarterbacks that don't make the right decision, and Arthur Smith is kind of questionable with his usage of his talent that he has there in Atlanta. So. As far as this game goes, I think Atlanta, proved that they want this division more than the Saints do. So I will give them their props. And, the Saints I think they're just going to try to get some draft capital at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single thing exciting about the NFC South except Bijan Robinson. I think if any NFC South game is on, I turn off the TV. Not a single thing exciting happens anytime any of them are on. I hope Atlanta makes it purely just so Bijan gets a little bit of playoff experience. Besides that, I think there's nothing going on in NFC South right now. Tampa Bay has let down all expectations. They were supposed to be playing much better this year. They were predicted to go, I think, like 9-7 or 9-6 or 9-7, something like that, and they're 4-7 right now. It's disappointing what Tampa Bay has done. New Orleans obviously has disappointed everyone. Derek Carr is about to be the next Marcus Mariota, just transferred all around, average at best, and just looking for someone better at this point.
I'm not even gonna give him Marcus Mariota, bro. What the hell? Bro, looking like Joshua Dobbs out here.
I mean, but yeah. I don't even want to talk about Joshua Dobbs right now because Vikings are a better team than what Dobbs, unfortunately. But yeah, nothing at all is going on in NFC South except for Bijan Robinson. So they're either gonna make some adjustments this offseason to work around him, or he needs to get on a better team.
Yep. Next up, Jacksonville, Houston. This is going to be a great rivalry for years to come. CJ versus T-Law. I am a big T-Law fan. CJ is starting to win me over because I wanted Texans to win that division, but Jacksonville looks to have this locked up. I know they're 1-1, but yeah, Jacksonville just been looking. What is it, 6 straight?
Jacksonville? They lost to the 49ers, though. They got their ass kicked a few weeks ago.
But, wait, they lost to the 49ers win? Oh, they did. Yeah, that's right. I remember. 30.3. Okay. But still, I mean, that was I'm not going to blame that game because that was the 49ers game after their bye when they got everyone back healthy. They were bound to have some momentum, right? Any given Sunday, right? But I really do like Jacksonville taking a win in the playoffs. I'm just going to gamble on Lawrence. I'm going to put a little bit of money on them. They're the 3rd seed. Did they beat the Ravens or the Chiefs? They have enough offense to beat the Ravens, I would say. I don't know if they would beat the Chiefs. The Chris Jones and that defense has been playing stout. They would probably beat the Dolphins and everybody else down forward. Maybe not the Browns defensively. Offensively, we'll see how that Jacksonville defense holds up. But Curtis, I'm going to hand it off to you. Was this more about T-Law or was this more about the Texans? Because I know Texans had a little bit bad luck with that last field goal.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think this was honestly the Jaguars' defense that won them this game. Don't get me wrong, T-Law played pretty well. He had a 90 QBR, but CJ Stroud had a 120 QBR. So he played much better. CJ Stroud had 2 touchdowns, 26 for 36, 304 yards. T-Law did have 364 yards, but he had about a 60% completion rate. Threw an interception as well. But what really came in huge was Jacksonville's defense. They had 4 sacks on the day, which was a crazy impact, especially that one pass rusher. What's his name? The Josh Allen. He had 2.5 sacks by the end of the day.
Yeah, he's playing big.
But luckily for Houston, they're still a very young team. CJ Stroud, the rookie, and even so, that rookie receiver Tank Dell came out and he looked very, very great this game. He had 5 catches, 50 yards, a touchdown. He had that bomb that he got the penalty, but I mean, besides that, he looked great all game as well. I don't think Jacksonville. I mean, their defense, I think, will save them. I think their defense honestly looks better than their offense. T. Law is playing pretty good, as you were saying, but Etna Jr. is just an average running back, I would say, right now. Even so, I mean,
Yeah, but Calvin Ridley's really fucking
yeah,
good.
Ridley's been playing great this season. But I mean, besides Ridley, they got Kirk out there. They got Ingram at their tight end. Ingram's a average tight end as well. Kirk is. I mean, he's been playing decent, but I wouldn't say it's anything special. I think as long as Jacksonville's defense, though, continues to play how they're playing, I do think that they're going to beat out. Right now, they're estimated to play Browns. I don't think they beat the Browns, if I'm to be honest with you. I think they do beat Colts. I think they do beat Steelers. I think they do beat Buffalo if they happen to sneak in as well. And I think, honestly, I'm not sure if they beat the Broncos. Broncos have been playing great the past few weeks. As long as Russell Wilson keeps on Russell Wilson and
No, I got something to say about that, but go ahead, Dalton.
Yeah, this was the game that I watched. Obviously, the early game. I watched this entire game, so I will say that probably the best game of the day outside of the Eagles Bills game. I love the rivalry that we got building here in the AFC South. Shout out to the AFC South. They got 3 teams in the playoffs right now. That's crazy. No one would have thought that. Obviously, Houston's played great. And, Jacksonville's been doing their thing all season, and the Colts as well. I think that this game could have went either way. CJ Stroud's offensive line definitely shit the bed on that final drive. Should have been a lot easier field goal than what it was there. Kind of a toss-up game. Both quarterbacks played well. I think, these are 2 very similar teams, young, great coaching. I love DeMeco Ryans there in Houston, and then obviously Dougie P has the Super Bowl behind him. So, I look at this game and it looks like this rivalry could go either way, probably for the next 5 to 10 years. Right now, I think T-Law has the slight advantage over CJ Stroud just because he has a little bit more experience and he has.
That wise is CJ Stroud beating T-Law by a minute. I think he has like 5 more touchdowns, about 500 more yards or something like that. So I mean, he's beat stat wise. CJ Stroud's killing T-Law.
Yeah, but I mean, Jacksonville is a more complete team, so it's a lot less inflated quarterback stats. So I think that I'm still going to give the edge to T-Law. Just because of his experience and the team he has around him, it's going to be easier for him going forward. I will say that Tank Dell for Houston, I already have him as a top 5 wide receiver in the AFC, just behind the Tyreek Hills, Devontae Adams, and such. But I think Houston is a team on the rise, like we said a couple of times on the show. And I love what they're doing down there, but I'll give the props to Jacksonville for pulling this out, especially being in Houston.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Next up, we're going to kind of combine these 2 topics. We got Pittsburgh, Cincy. Cincy does not have their team right now, so you can't really blame them. They're on the downfall. But this game is mostly about seeding, right? I'm only talking about this because Colts are number 7, Steelers are 5. Colts look good with the Gardner Minshew, and they're 2nd in the AFC South, right?
Yep.
Now, do the Colts make 7 seed? Are we missing out on the Colts right here?
No, honestly, I think the only reason that Colts and Houston are the same, both 6-5 right now. I think Houston's going to pass them up. I think Colts have a harder schedule as well, if we're going to be honest. I'm not sure that they're going to end up making playoff at all this year. They've done great so far, but I think now that that rookie quarterback's out. I think what's his name?
Anthony Richardson.
Yep, Richardson. I think now that Richardson's gone, I'm not sure that they're making 7th seed. I think Bills have a better chance. I think Houston has a better chance. I think Cincy has a better chance, even though Cincy just lost this week. I think Denver has a better chance, if we're going to be honest. And they're all 6-5 or 6-6, so it really could go any direction right now. The 7th seed is such a toss-up right now on the AFC side just because there's so many solid opponents over there.
Now, let's not forget that the Colts actually did beat the Texans, right? Anthony Richardson got hurt. Gardner Minshew came in and got the dub against them. They also beat the Titans, who they have up next, so I think they'll beat the Titans again. They only lost to the Browns by 1 point, and we know how tough that defense is. You got to give credits to the Colts, right? They don't even have their starting quarterback, and they're making splashes. The Bengals don't have their starting quarterback. I think they could win that game. The Steelers are up. They're a toss-up. The Falcons, they're a toss-up, and then they got Raiders, Texans. It's very, very possible that we'll see the Colts in the playoffs.
So you don't think the Bills are going to get in?
It's hard to say that. Look at the Bills' schedule compared to the Colts' schedule.
Well, you already know they're going to beat Dallas. They're going to beat. They're going to beat Kansas City this week. We'll get into that later.
Buffalo's beating Kansas City.
Yes, they are.
Wow.
Is it in Buffalo or is it in KC?
I believe it's in KC.
Oh, they're not winning that. Absolutely not. They're not winning that in the Arrowhead. Absolutely.
Really?
I'll give you this. Josh Allen is hot right now. He played a great game last game, but
yeah, he was hot last week.
But the Chiefs just came out and scored 31 points in the second half when we thought they were dead in the water for a minute. So, sheesh, I don't know.
Okay, that's what makes the AFC is interesting. AFC is super interesting just because of 5th, 6th, and 7th. They really could be 8 different teams right now.
I'll look at the Bills' schedule. Okay, let's say they do lose to Kansas City, right? We'll say that's a toss-up. We'll give it to Kansas City. I say they beat Dallas at home. Dallas is not going to go into Buffalo in the middle of December and beat them in snow. Chargers have the worst defense in the league. The Patriots are the worst team in the league. And then they got at Miami, and Miami hasn't beat a good team all year. So
Miami Bills will be close. That might be like an overtime game, if we're being completely honest.
So I mean, it looks like, what is that? 1, 2, 3. You can argue that the Bills go 4-1 to finish the year. If the Bills went 4-1 to finish the season, they'd be in the playoffs.
If they go 4-1, I think that's a big stretch. I'm not even sure that they beat Dallas at their home field.
Now, I want to see the Bills in the playoffs, right? But I'm actually going to take the Cowboys on that, right? I just feel Cowboys defense is going to stifle Josh Allen, right? The offense versus the Bills defense, we'll see what happens, in cold snow, all that, of course. But
do you think that the Cowboys are built to go into Buffalo in December to win? A team that can't run the football right now. I mean, you really think that Dallas could beat Buffalo in the snow?
100%. I think they 100% beat them in the snow. And here's why.
I'm on 50-50.
Because you're right.
But yeah, go ahead.
I think the Bills don't have a running game at all. Dallas is second ranked in passing yards allowed this season at 167 yards. Second, of course, behind to Browns by 30 yards, holding everyone at 140 yards per game. But we won't get into how dominant the Browns defense is this season. I think Cowboys is honestly, their defense is such an underrated. Their defense is an extremely underrated part of their team. I think Dak Prescott and their offense scoring 40 points on these trash teams is the highlight of the games, but I don't think anyone ever sees the 10 points allowed or the highlights of the Cowboys defense. Like I said, their passing defense is extremely solid. Josh Allen is going to be spooked. I think they lose that game by 14 points.
Oh, that's crazy. I think the Bills have lost 6 games all year, and their total combined point differential is 22 points. They've lost by a total of 22 points in these games.
But that's always been their story. That's always been the story. They've always lost close games every single time. That was the issue last year.
Well, Dallas never beats a good team on the road. They never beat a good team. So you look at it that way. I don't see how Dallas goes in there and beats Buffalo. Obviously, Buffalo doesn't win close games, but Dallas doesn't fucking beat anybody on the road.
It's Dallas. It's hard to carry the Dallas narrative because of how they played against the Eagles and how they played against the bad teams. So we really won't know that until they play first the Seahawks and of course they face the Eagles. Like those two games are going to be the telltale story of whether they're going to be false hopes or they're going to go the distance.
Yeah, I don't think the Bills defense have it in them to make it any sort of contest at all. I'm going to be honest with you.
Ooh.
But now let's get into your little situation, Curtis. About to shred you on this. Cleveland, Denver. You're saying Cleveland gonna make the playoffs. They can't even beat Denver right now. So I mean, I want you to start off. Make your point.
Yeah, no, I mean as long as they sort out their quarterback situation, which keeps on rotating on the weekly basis right now, I think their schedule upcoming. Next week they play the Rams, which I think they beat the Rams. The next week they play Jacksonville, and I do think they beat Jacksonville. If I'm to be honest with you, like I was saying, Bears is next week. They play Houston next, and honestly, I think they lose to Houston. But then they play the Jets, who I think they beat, and then I think they beat the Bengals as well on their final week. I see. If we're gonna count them out, I see them losing maybe against Jacksonville, maybe Houston. Is Aaron Rodgers supposed to play by the end of the year?
See, and we're gonna get into this a little later afterwards, but this Aaron Rodgers hope thing that they got going for, I think that's like he got the adjusting the damn headlock, bro. He's not coming back. Right, that's the only reason they stayed with Zach Wilson. They were like, okay, well, just get him ready for me, right? But he's not coming back, bro. Like, I think we just need to dismiss that notion. Jets are done for the year.
Yeah.
They already said. I heard an article that they're preparing for everyone on the coaching staff to come back for next year because Aaron Rodgers is the lifeline, pretty much. If Aaron Rodgers fails next year, rebuild. But as of right now, I think the Jets are just done.
Well, if that's the case, then I see if they get unlucky, I see them losing the next 2 of their 6 games. The only people being Jacksonville and Houston. I mean, it's hard to count out Houston, obviously, but I mean, Brown's defense is so solid. I mean, it's not even close how they average. Hold on, let me load up this stat real quick. Yeah, on defense, their total yards allowed is 247. Ravens defense is next is 280. That's a 20% almost difference. I mean, their defense is miles behind, or I mean, miles ahead of everyone else right now, especially their rushing. I mean, their passing defense, they're allowing 30 less yards than second place, which is Cowboys. They're allowing 140 yards per game, which is unheard of. That hasn't happened in the last 5 years. So the Browns defense got it down. Their running game as well. They're ranked 3rd right now in rushing. As long as they have somebody at quarterback who can just follow instructions, yeah, they're solid in the playoffs this year.
And Dalton, before you go, I'm just gonna actually, you know what, Dalton, you go because I got a hot take after this. I do. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to figure out. So Curtis or Jerry, both of y'all. I mean, you guys got Pittsburgh getting in. You got the Colts getting in, Texans getting in, and Denver getting in. I mean, there's only 3
Okay,
I mean, who's y'all think's getting in?
All right.
Because y'all don't have Buffalo getting in. Okay, so who's of the 14? Because you guys say Pittsburgh.
This is my hot take. I got actually Vegas getting in. We'll get to this in the KC Vegas game. Vegas looked good. Aiden O'Connell was slinging that ball, gunslinger. Oh, don't look at that face. Did you watch the game? This man was hitting Jacoby Myers like
Vegas getting in. No.
Yeah.
There's too much. If they were in the NFC, maybe. But no, there's too much competition in the AFC for Vegas to get in. Who do you have right now as 5th, 6th, 7th? We'll say, okay, we'll lock it down. We'll say Baltimore. We'll say 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th is as it is, which is Baltimore, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Miami. Who do you have as 5th, 6th, 7th?
I'll go Steelers. I'll go Texans. Huh?
As 5th?
No, my fault. Oh yeah, in order. All right, fifth is Texans. Six will be. Hold up. Look based on the schedule. Six will be the Raiders.
6 will be
Just
the
so close.
Raiders. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Jeremiah, what
yeah.
games have you been watching?
The Kansas City Chiefs defense is nice, and they literally put up 14-0 on the Chiefs. Right now, the Chiefs are bound to come back. They do this every year. But if we look at the offensive firepower, Aiden O'Connell is actually starting to get comfortable. Josh Jacobs has been going off all year. Devontae Adams is getting more touches. Come on, they're still a dangerous team now, and that defense is getting pressures. Matt Crosby is still top 10 in quarterback pressures all year. Like they have a stout team, so I want to hear the argument against them.
The argument, I mean, they're ranked 20th in passing right now, and rushing they're ranked.
Well, that's the
29th
buffer
in
from
rushing right now.
the
I mean,
beginning
don't
of the
get me
season.
wrong. Josh Jacobs is solid. Their offensive line is not solid at all.
That's true.
And
Yeah,
nowadays,
that's true.
NFL, you have to have a solid line. No matter.
I'm not saying they'll win a
Eagles line
game.
right
I'm just
now,
saying
no
they'll
matter what
make.
running back you're putting behind the Eagles line, he's going to average 4 yards a run. Nowadays, I feel like that's why I feel like running backs are getting paid less and less. It's not about how star-studded a single running back is. It's about the offensive line that you have in front of them. And I don't think Las Vegas has any type of offensive line that could put them in 8th or 9th even in the AFC.
Their next two games are Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs. They're gonna lose that, and the Colts, Broncos.
You see them beating Vikings?
I can see them beating the Vikings. I can see them. That Chargers will be tough. Offense versus it'd basically be an offensive game for the Raiders Chargers. I don't know about that one. Raiders Chiefs are gonna win. Raiders Colts, it's a mid off, and then the Broncos that'll be the game I'm waiting for.
Yeah, Vegas's defense is ranked 20th as well. I'm not seeing it.
Okay, I'll buffer it down. All right, I'll have the Raiders 8th seed fighting to get into the 7th by them having to face the Broncos. Like that Broncos game is going to be their chance to get in. That's what I'll say.
Do you think they're beating Broncos? I think Broncos beats them to get the 7th over Raiders beating them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm picking the Raiders, but I just feel that that's going to be the game that determines it.
Really?
Right?
Okay. So that's
Hold
your.
on.
So your 5th seed is the Las
Oh yeah,
Vegas.
Dalton, go ahead.
No,
you ain't even.
No, I just want to see how you have the Raiders getting in because look at this. So they've already lost to the Bills and Steelers this year. So that means they're already down a game on this. So they have to get a game above them. They're already a game back. So that means they got to go. They have to get 2 games up on both the Steelers, Bills, and then obviously the Broncos as well because they play the Broncos at the end of the season. So we're looking at it this
That's
way.
why I'm hoping they beat the
They
Chargers.
They have to beat the Chiefs. They have to beat the Colts. They're going to have to beat the Broncos. I mean, they got to win at least 4 of these games. I don't see them beating the Chiefs. We've talked about how the Colts are the world beaters. Broncos are on fire. Vikings are tough, and you said Chargers is a tough game for them. I don't see them winning more than 2 of these games. They're already 2 games back. They've already lost to the Steelers. They've already lost to the Bills. So you already know that if there's a tiebreaker, they're already lost the head-to-head there with them. So for the Raiders to get in, they're going to have to win out. And I don't see them winning fucking more than 2 of these games. That's my opinion. But, obviously that's me looking at the Raiders. We're looking at, O'Connell's quarterback, whatever. But I want to stand, 10 toes on, my picks for the AFC. I'm going to pick, obviously, based off, the quarterback position. And I don't see how the Raiders get in whatsoever. And not that I don't like, Antonio Pierce has been he's a great coach. These players are bought into him. They love him. They love the culture there.
Yeah, he'll probably be coaching.
He'll be their coach next year. And obviously, shout out to the Raiders for that. But I don't see them getting in the playoffs this year. I don't think it's a good take because I don't think they can't win out. I don't think they can win out. And I feel like that's their only way of getting in because I don't think that the teams ahead of them are going to slip up. The only team that I could see slipping up would be Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh has a 2-game lead over them and they have the tiebreaker. So it'd be a tough sledding there.
Well, I'm gonna hold my take then until the Vikings game because if they don't beat the Vikings, then there is nothing to talk about.
Who else
They
do you
beat the
have
Vikings.
besides the Raiders?
So what?
You had Raiders at 5th. Who do you have at 6th and 7th?
No, I moved them. I moved them to the bubble for 8th. I said they'll fight to get in for that on that Broncos game.
Oh, okay.
I'm expecting them to win, right? But we'll see again on the Vikings.
All right, who else you got for the playoff on the AFC side?
I'll put the Broncos
At 7th?
6. 7th will be.
Well, if Raiders beat them, they wouldn't be 6th.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Yeah. Well, no, wait, hold on. That's what I'm saying. The Raiders Broncos at the end of the season. I'm saying that game right there, it'll be the determinant.
Oh, between
Right,
who makes?
Yes, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But then, yeah, Bills. Yeah.
Really?
I'm putting Raiders. That's what I'm doing.
You putting the Bills in now? Are we putting the Bills in?
Oh, I'll put the Bills in.
All right, I like to hear it.
No.
I like to hear that.
No.
Because I got it.
They really did play well against the well, hold on, matter of fact, let's get into it. Hold on. We already talked.
We'll get into the Buffalo right now because I could talk about. I think Buffalo is going to end up as the 5 seed in the AFC, and they're going to end up back in the AFC Championship game.
No way. There's no way.
All right, Philadelphia.
Buffalo played great this last week, and y'all are hyping back up on that Bills.
Buffalo's beating Kansas City this week. I'm saying it right now.
It was prime time. We got Buffalo, Philly, 37-34 overtime thriller. Jalen Hurts, second half king, down 10 points for the second week in a row, makes big plays, makes an MVP play at the end to win. Has some turnovers, the fumble, tipped interception. Josh Allen had a great game. It was more of a battle of which defense could just hold on because they looked like in the second half they were just running up the field, really. Also, I'm gonna let Dalton start it off, but I also want to ask after you put your little analysis in. Frank Reich is fired, right? Obviously, he was our DC during the Super Bowl year. Do you think Sirianni should bring him in as an advisory role, right? As like Dick Fangio from last year when we made it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Dick Fangio was the coordinator for the Dolphins, something like that. But yeah, what do you think on that? But give me your takes on the game first.
Yeah, I want to give Eagles a little bit of props first. They won the game without Lane Johnson starting. They had a record of 13-22 without Lane Johnson starting. So this was a big win against a good team. That's the first thing I'll say. The offensive line played pretty well outside of the first possession. You know, Hurts was damn near sacked the first 3 plays of the game, and I thought it was going to be a long game. They tightened it up. They gave Jalen Hurts some easier throwing opportunities later on in the game. I think they kind of changed the play calling a little bit better, moved a little bit more into the run game. But overall, defense played pretty sus in the first half. It's been that story all year. I feel like
they could not touch Josh Allen for a minute, bro.
Adjustments. So I don't know what it is, but these AFC quarterbacks are hard to bring down. You know, Patrick Mahomes last week, Josh Allen this week. Buffalo played well enough to win the game. I think the one difference in this game is going to go back on, James Bradbury made a play that was the game-saving play. The interception in the fourth quarter was the play of the game. Obviously, you can look at Jake Elliott's field goal. You can look at, obviously, Jalen Hurts' touchdown or, the Gabe Davis not turning around in the overtime. But I think the play of the game was the interception by James Bradbury. Mm-hmm. Outside of James Bradbury's performance, though, the secondary did not play very well. Eagles defense was definitely torched once
I know you
again.
saw how Slay got beat just back. Like
Slay is getting ate up this entire year. He's been there. I haven't seen Darius Slay be ahead of the play yet. I feel like he's always chasing the wide receiver. He's always behind.
He had them 2 picks in the first 3 or 4 games, and then just quiet after that.
Yeah. And this is my full Eagles analysis. Defensive side of the ball. In the fourth quarter, we kind of, got a little bit soft. We gave up some pretty damn good runs. They walked the dog on us there on their final drive of the regulation there. Moving into the offensive side, Jalen Hurts didn't have obviously the greatest passing game. He made a couple of big throws that he needed to make, though. He made the plays he needed to make. Swift had a couple of big runs. I think we are missing Dallas Goedert as someone that can kind of come across the middle. I think a lot of our
and for the run game too.
Oh yeah, I think Devontae Smith. Obviously he had a good game. AJ Brown is kind of. I don't know if it's the missing of Dallas Goedert. AJ Brown's kind of. I don't know if there's just a lot easier to.
The Bills bracketed AJ at first, so it was kind of hard to get him going. And then when AJ's not in rhythm, he just kind of disappears unless he makes a big play. But
obviously, I just, give him the elements as well. AJ Brown's more of an outside wide receiver, along with Devontae Smith, and I think, in conditions where it's 20 or 35 degrees and it's raining, and it's just nasty out there. It's kind of hard to. Get into a rhythm as far as, the bigger outside plays. That's when you need a Dallas Goedert. It's when you need, Swift to pick up the slack. I think Gainwell had a couple solid runs as well. Overall, Eagles played great. Buffalo played better, but, Eagles made the plays they had to make to win the game. That's why I'm giving so much props to Buffalo because they played so well against us in our house. Josh Allen had a great game. He had one critical mistake, and then the other mistake was made by Gabe Davis. It looked like they're in overtime.
And Cody, before we get to you, let me just point out that Jalen Hurts, when he's winning, only has 7 TDs, 9 interceptions, 65 quarterback rating. When he's losing, jumps up to 22 TDs, 1 interception, 114 on the rating. Yeah, so Jalen Hurts from behind, put the money down, clear the house. But what you got, Curtis?
Yeah, if we're basing just Bills' playoff picture just off this game alone, then yeah, I could 100% see it. Like y'all were saying, Bills did play great this week.
And it's the number 1 team in the NFC and NFL power rankings. So if the Bills are playing good against
the Eagles have looked nearly untouchable all season. So, I don't think anyone's expecting it to be this close of a game. I think, like Dalton was saying, this was Bills to win. Eagles just made the crucial plays when they needed to make them. Let alone that field goal to send it to the overtime was insane as well. Josh Allen played pretty well this week, which is good. They definitely needed him to step up again. This is looking like old Josh Allen. He had 339 yards in that terrible weather, which is pretty crazy. Their wideouts look great as well. Gabe Davis had a great game, except for that. Of course, that late game fumble. But Stephon Diggs obviously was there as well. James Cook showed up to play. How many? Yeah, they had 7 different receivers that had 3+ catches. So their wideouts are looking great as well. Plus, they're kind of figuring out their running game, which is great as well. They're dividing touches between Cook and Murray and Johnson. Cook is definitely their short range threat. Josh Allen on the foot, though, he had 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
This is definitely the Josh Allen that we were seeing in the playoffs last year. I really think it was kind of a fluke that everyone thought it was a fluke that they got out like that with the way that they were playing. It'll be different, of course, with that playoff rule this year. It'll make it more interesting how both teams get a touch of the ball this year. But with that said, I'm not even sure that helps out in Josh Allen's favor because I don't think, all in all being said, that the Buffalo Bills make the playoffs. I think this was their one exceptional game of the year to try to show up. And they did play exceptional, don't get me wrong, but I think this is their highlight game of the year. I think it goes back downhill from here. I think they're losing focus on where they need to touch up on their where they need to touch up. Because it was their game to win. If we're going to be honest, there's no reason that Eagles should have came back the way they did and won the game. They keep on making crucial mistakes at the worst of times, which has been a Buffalo Bills thing for the past few years. I'm not sure that the Bills are anything to worry about this year.
Now, would you say that the Bills – what's the Bills' issue this year? Because they don't look too bad. If you've watched their games. Is it coaching? Is it Josh Allen? Is it the idea that they're playing? They have probably the top 3 toughest schedules in the league. I mean, they've lost to Jacksonville. They lost to the Bengals with Joe Burrow. They lost to Russell Wilson, basically the Broncos when they were on fire. They lost to the Eagles in Philly. So, I mean, is it a combination?
Defensively, they had those injuries, right? Tre'Davious, Matt Milano, Von Miller. Those are 3 key pieces. Matt Milano is a goddamn field general, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting the same coverage calls that you really normally get, the ones that help you, especially against the AFC teams, right? That's really where he was knocking them down from. Tre'Davious White, all pro corner. I just think injuries on the defensive side slowed it down, and then when you're getting down in the games, having to be able to, they don't have a run game to begin with, and so when you're having to force Josh Allen to throw 40, 50 times a game, you're just going to bound to get those turnovers that get you to lose the game. But that's just how I feel it.
And it's sad because they actually do have a pretty solid running game this year. It's just they still decide to throw the ball 55 times, and I hate to, I'm not a Bills fan or anything, but it's sad because they do. I mean, they've been a really great team in the AFC for 5 years now. They've been close to the time, so I don't want to write them off yet. And it's just like, so I want to get into this. It's like, because I've heard people say, we need to get rid of Josh Allen. He's throwing too many interceptions. He's fumbling, blah, 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 blah. Well, Josh Allen is the reason they fucking won anything this year. I mean, you put, you put Brock Purdy in the Bills, on the Bills system right now. Do you think the Bills are 6-6, or are they 8-3, or are they
3-13?
3-13, yeah, exactly. See, that's the way I look at it. So it's like Josh Allen is not the problem there. I've heard people say they're calling for, Sean McDermott to get fired, or
I do think they missed Daboll for sure.
They do miss Daboll. I do think they missed Daboll.
But what you got, Curtis?
Yeah, no, I think it's a mix of things. I think number one, that Josh Allen and them firing their offensive coordinator in the middle of Ken Dorsey in the middle of the season really put a damper on their offense, because a lot of times, like we said, I mean, it's just mistakes that they're making. And I think it's just because of this new offensive coordinator that they have. There's a lack of communication going on, or I'm not sure what it is, but also just their defensive injuries as well. I mean, they have Milano and White who have been out for the rest of the year. They lost Edmonds in the free agency. They should have got a corner. They did not get a corner. Plus Poyer and Hyde, their safeties right now have not been playing well at all this year. Let alone, I mean, besides Josh Allen has had an 80 QBR on average, which he averages normally 100 QBR. I think it's just a mixture of a bunch of things this season that has caused the Bills to not look like their usual Bills self. I don't think they're a bad team by any means. I think everyone's just making mistakes where they at a terrible time. Mistakes that they should not be making at a crucial point in the game. And even so, their coaching staff is at least their offensive side coaching staff, plus I mean, I like their head coach, to be honest. I think it's just the coordinators that they have around him need adjustment. I think they need to settle down. I think they need to get back in the typical Bills consistency. Bills consistently used to score 35 points. Josh Allen with those interceptions, yeah, but Josh Allen would still get 400 yards a game. Bills defense is always solid enough to where it wouldn't really matter if they allowed 28 points, because their offense was always there. This year, their offense isn't there. I'm not sure that they can do anything for the rest of the year to fix that, if I'm going to be honest.
All right. Let's go move on. Honestly, we already talked about the Chargers, so we can get through this kind of quick. Ravens, right? The defense showed up. The offense just looked stagnant at times. I think this is just what to expect from the Ravens, right? They're a tough team to beat, but you can if you can outshoot them, you got a good chance of winning. Obviously, the defense has been stout all year. Roquan, Patrick Queen,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Humphrey, list goes on and on. The Ravens are obviously they look like the best team in the AFC. You could argue it's the Chiefs, but it's between those two, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to put. So I mean, as far as the Ravens go, I mean, I think we already said what Dalton. You already said the Chiefs going to take over the Ravens, or what you got number 1 seed?
I say the 1 seed I believe is going to go to Kansas City. I think they'll win out after. I believe they will lose this week to Buffalo, and then they'll win out for the rest of the season. I think the Ravens have a tough schedule. I think they got Pittsburgh again. They got the 49ers as well later on in the schedule. So I think overall, the tougher schedule is going to be on Baltimore side. So I think Kansas City takes the 1 seed, which will definitely make the an interesting divisional round of the playoffs at least, because we'll probably get Kansas City and Miami again, which that was a pretty solid game. And then we'd probably be looking around something like Baltimore and Buffalo or Baltimore, Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think you're right about the Chiefs taking over on that 1st seed. Even though they do take over the 1st seed, I still do think that the Ravens are slightly a better team. I mean, like Jeremiah was saying, their defense is stout, solid, second ranked this year. And I mean, everyone knows what Lamar Jackson and that offense can do. I think that they have a better chance of making the Super Bowl than the Chiefs, if I'm going to be honest with you.
It's just you can't when you have 4 turnovers, right? Which the Chargers had 4, I think either 4 or 5 turnovers. You got to score more than 20 points, especially against the Chiefs. What? That's not going to work.
Yeah, because the Chiefs aren't going to turn the ball over 4 times.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And in the playoffs,
you got to capitalize those points.
He's not going to hand you very many gifts, if any. So I'll definitely have to take advantage of that. It's got to be like strong suit against strong suit, because this is the best defense that Kansas City's probably had under Patrick Mahomes' career, but it's probably definitely the worst supporting cast he's had on offense.
Rasheed Rice did have a big day, though. He was looking nice, looking like a true first option, looked better than Kelsey that game at least. Kelsey looked slow, sluggish. Looked like the injuries are starting to kind of get to him. He still can get open, of course. They're still going to make splashes, but Kelsey is nearing that end of his career. Maybe another year or 2 or 3 left. See how that works out. But, yeah, that'll wrap up NFL Sunday or NFL weekend. I just got the updated college football list. Number 1 is Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. 3, Washington. 4, Florida State. Do y'all agree with that? Oh, well, 5, Oregon. 6, Ohio State. 7, Texas. 8, Alabama.
I'm just going to go ahead and address that elephant in the room with Dalton saying that Alabama is going to somehow miraculously win it all this year. I'm not sure that anyone's touching Georgia with how they've been playing. I mean, Georgia's going to have 10 NFL recruits this year.
Uh-huh.
I think Georgia's the clear-cut winner of NCAA this year, and it's not even going to be a close game, whoever they play against.
I think it'd be close.
Well, we got Georgia, Alabama. They play this week. So it's going to be very interesting on how this plays out, because there's a lot of hypotheticals. I've been actually following college football a lot more this year than I have in a few years, just because I have more time on my schedule. I'm in my old man years now that I'm out of school. If Alabama beats Georgia on Saturday, there's a chance Georgia doesn't even get in. Because I don't think they take Georgia.
There's no way they take them out the 4. There's no way. Alabama would probably jump up to the top 4, but there's no way they take Georgia out.
So if Georgia, my question is this: let's say if Georgia loses, and you say Alabama goes to the top 4, correct? So do they put Texas in because they beat Alabama this year as well? If Texas beats OSU on Saturday, because then you got to put Texas in, and you got Alabama, Texas, and you got Michigan that's going to be in, and then they're going to take Washington out, or Oregon, or Florida State. I mean, I can see them taking Florida State out just because Jordan Travis is out for the year. But it gets really sketchy because you can't put Alabama in if you're not going to put Texas in too. That's the way it's going to be but then you can't put Georgia in if they just lost to Alabama and not put Alabama in. So that's going to be a shit show if that actually happens this week.
Who Texas has OK State, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we also got to notice that Oregon Washington play this week as well. That'll
Yep.
be a big determinant. I think if Bama wins, they jump up. But then Washington, Oregon, I'm not gonna lie, Oregon's been looking good. Bo Nix is serious. But also Penix on Washington is also serious. That'll be a great game. Whoever wins that, that'll definitely gonna be 3 seed. Michigan's not getting touched. Who do they have this week?
Iowa.
Okay.
I see Oregon beating Washington.
I don't know. It's just weird because it's like Ohio State is still ranked ahead of Texas and Alabama. Like, are they going to put Ohio State in over Texas if Alabama wins? I don't know how.
I don't think Ohio State makes it.
I think Ohio State should have been ranked 8th, if I'm going to be honest. I think Texas should have ranked 6th. I think Alabama should have ranked 7th.
Do you think they put Alabama in if they win over Georgia?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think they beat Georgia though.
Okay, fair take.
And on your Oregon point, Washington beat Oregon earlier in the season. So how do you figure Oregon's going to beat them?
Yeah, I think they've made the adjustments, and Oregon's had a solid year ever since that loss.
I think they lost that game by like 2 points. It was a good game.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd
be interesting how – wait, am I tweaking? Because I thought they extended the playoff. Did they now make it bigger?
It's next year. Next year.
Okay.
That's why it's like this is just going to be wild because there's a chance Alabama could beat Georgia and still not get in, and they could put Georgia in instead of them. That'd just be nuts.
I just think could Georgia beat like 4 or 5 ranked opponents, right?
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee. They beat Ole Miss. They beat
Florida.
They got like Georgia's is solidified. I feel like even if they lose,
That's just
I think the end game picture it's going to be Georgia against Michigan.
Georgia.
Yeah, I guess Michigan's basically a lot because they beat Ohio State, but I mean, assuming they win. So if Michigan's a lot, I don't know. It's going to be crazy because I don't know what they're fucking going to do. I mean, there's just no way in hell they don't put Texas in if Alabama gets in too. Because how is that even right to put Alabama in if you're not going to put Texas in? Because
if Florida State wins against Louisville without their star quarterback, it'll be hard to say no against them too.
Yeah, they're undefeated. I mean, Texas lost. So, I mean, they're going to probably put the undefeated teams in first and then go from there.
Exactly. So, it's like –
it's going to be, either Alabama or Texas at that point, let's say, or Georgia. I don't know. It's a mess. I guess we'll figure it out. Next Tuesday, when the rankings come out, we could do this live when they announce that shit. It'll be a controversy.
Yep. Quick little NBA news. Fucking Lakers, LeBron's worst loss of his career, 44 points against the Sixers. Clippers look bad, lost against the Nuggets without their big three. No Nuggets. No Jokic, Murray, or Gordon still lost with a healthy Clippers. The Bucks are winning games in big fashion. Y'all been keeping up? Like, what's good on there? What's y'all thoughts on the NBA right now?
Have y'all seen the Orlando Magic?
Orlando,
the youngest teams in the NBA, second right now.
Well, they had a good rookie core. They had Franz Wagner last year. Who's the other one? Cole Anthony and somebody else. But Franz Wagner.
From Duke. What's his name? The kid from Duke.
Franz Wagner?
No. Hold on. Am I tripping?
I just watched one of the games.
They got the brothers. They got Moritz Wagner as well.
Paulo.
Oh, Banchero. Yeah.
Banchero.
But Suggs is the one that's like, yeah. They got a good squad. But it's like Memphis that first year, right? They're just a little young. Memphis isn't even looking good, right? But Memphis season doesn't start till Ja gets here. Fuck. Well, Phoenix looks great with Devin Booker at the point guard. Denver looks
They're hot right now.
unstoppable.
Yeah.
Well, what do you?
Yeah, the
What,
fact
what
that
would your
Denver's
top
still
5
winning
teams
games.
be?
You said what? I'm sorry.
What would your top 5 teams right now be for NBA? It ain't even
We
got to be
talking-
record.
All the way around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I think Celtics are number 1.
Over Denver?
Woo!
Yeah,
Whoa, I need you to explain that one.
I think Denver is number 2. I'm going with Suns is number. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Suns is number 3, Bucks is number 4, 76 is number 5.
Dalton, what's your top 5?
If the NBA was, starting 5 only, and it was starting 5 versus starting 5, and bench was not a thing, I would say Boston is the best team starting 5-wise over Denver. Denver has the full squad. They can win without the stars. I'm going to say Denver 1, Boston 2, and give me Philly 3.
Philly 3.
Okay. I'm gonna knock y'all out with these for my ranking. Let me double check this before I say it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'll go Denver. I'll go Celtics, Bucks. Fuck. Okay, I'll give the Suns the edge over the Sixers. And my dark horse 5, right? Like I don't care if I get heat for this. Pacers. Tyrese
Interesting.
Halliburton is looking like the best point guard in the East. They got a nice shooting core around them, right? They're losing some games, but they also had some injuries in the Knicks. I think Pacers in the long run will end up probably at the 5 seed. The Knicks aren't going to last that long. The Heat look good, right? But the Heat always look good at first. So, yeah, I have Pacers pull it up. And I've been watching all Pacers games lately, so I feel confident in what I'm saying. Tyrese Halliburton is the real deal. LaMelo Ball's also been balling out for Charlotte, but Charlotte is a dumpster fire, right?
Mhm.
They just never been good. They ain't got the talent. Bulls, I can't even talk about my Bulls. I'll just get pissed off. They're about to rebuild. Levine probably gonna be out of here by the deadline. Debo might be out of here too. I don't even fucking know, but I'm done with the Bulls right now. I don't even want to talk about them. But then the Clippers, bro. The Clippers, they were on a winning streak. They were looking. I think they were like 4-1 with Russ on the bench, and then they lost against the Nuggets. So like, what's wrong with the Clippers?
I think they're just a product of it's almost like remember the Brooklyn Nets team with like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Joe Johnson was on that team, I believe. Rasheed, or what's his name?
Wasn't Darren Williams on there too?
Yeah, Darren Williams was on that team. I think it's just one of the things where they try to put too many aging superstars together, trying to make it work, But I think egos and the game's just too quick now, and I think that there are a lot more superstars now than there were even 5 years ago. So I think there's a lot. I think the skill gap is definitely closed now to where instead of having 5 bona fide superstars, there's like 20 bona fide superstars now, and I think that when you have aging former bona fide superstars on a team like this, they're trying to glue them together. They just don't have enough. They're just not enough to keep up with the younger squads that were built from the ground up. That's why, I don't think the Clippers are never going to be able to beat Denver. That's why the Lakers are honestly probably not going to beat, the Denvers, the Phoenix, even Minnesota at this point in the West. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that the Clippers? Well, what do you think the issue is there? Do you think that there's like, is it a coaching issue, or is it did James Harden completely fuck this whole thing up, or do you think without James Harden they would still be struggling? Because I don't think that. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
Their paint defense is abysmal. Zubac would probably need to be traded for a better big man. Terrence Mann has been playing great since he's back in the lineup. Bones Highland has not been getting used as much. He might end up getting traded, which is tragic for him.
Mm.
It's just really James, bro. Like it's good to have those numbers and have that star that can also make the shot, but it's also like you had chemistry. Y'all literally, if Kawhi and PG don't get hurt, there's an argument y'all go farther than the Lakers or whatever the case may be. Because Kawhi was still playing out of his mind, played out of his mind last night, right? Russ was playing good, PG was playing efficient, so it's just Harden. But at the same time, Ty Lue has to do just a little bit better job coaching, right? I mean, he knew what was coming. They obviously accepted it. He obviously accepted the move. So now I'm going to start putting this load on Ty Lue. I wouldn't say he's in the hot seat, but the burner's lit. You know what I mean? Burner's lit. But what do you got, Curtis?
Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of aged superstars. I mean, if we're looking at statistics like the last 3 years, they're nothing compared to what they were in their prime. All four of those superstars, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. I mean, Paul George is playing pretty decent this year, but
Playing great this year, actually. He's been putting up great numbers. I think his true shooting percentage is over 50 right now.
it's not enough. Not enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Besides, yeah, like Paul George is their highlight player right now, and that's not good enough to compete with. Yeah, what you're saying. Most of these younger teams, these quicker teams, 76ers are looking much better. I mean, yeah, I don't. I don't see
I
the
mean,
Clippers.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're fine.
I just gotta figure out what the knowledge is and what's the ideology about this is where, Paul George, James Harden, I ain't gonna say the same for Kawhi, Russell Westbrook though. All three of those superstars, they couldn't win the championships in their prime, and now that they're a little bit past their prime, I don't know what the idea is that they're gonna go win a championship now.
Yeah.
They're out of their prime, and there's younger superstars that are just as talented or even more talented, better shooters, more athletic, quicker, younger, can play longer, play more minutes, plays better defense, and all the above there. I don't know. I don't see how the Clippers or the Lakers as well, I'll say the Lakers too, as a homer here, that, I don't think either of them are going to have enough. The LA teams I think they're going to be done for as far as going anywhere deep in the playoffs. And I love LeBron, and I love, what they can do there, but it's just, I think that era of, basketball is over where, the best superstar can carry the team, blah, blah, blah. It takes a full squad now because every team's got a superstar now. It's not just like there's just one good superstar on each side of on each conference or anything. I mean, the West got 15 fucking superstars that could have been the best player in the league, 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put Shea, if you put Shea right now, you put him 10, go back 10 years, he's probably the second, third best player in the league. And right now you probably have him as like maybe the 7th or 8th best player, 10th best player in the league.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And in-season tournament is starting to wrap up too. I still don't get the rankings of it, but I think towards the end of it, we'll start to understand it. That's all I got for NBA. Are y'all good on time, or y'all want to cut it off, or what's the word?
What are we hitting at? What's the time at right now?
7:17.
It's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? That was a quick hour and a half. Damn.
I mean, if y'all want to get into any topics, just let me know. What? Let's see.
Let me see what I got.
We already got to the Alabama. We already got the Browns. To be honest, I think, are we inconsistent that it wasn't Frank Wright's fault?
Oh yeah.
And
Frank
Yeah.
Wright didn't even want Bryce Young.
So
He
what?
didn't even want Frank Wright didn't even want Bryce Young. He wanted C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, he wanted
He
CJ.
started out there.
Mhm.
But you didn't answer the question on the Eagles. Should Frank Wright be a little advisory like Fangio, or should he stay out the way? What you think?
Honestly,
Because Fangio,
I
I mean, he
don't-
was on the defensive side, and I mean, obviously, you know what our defense did.
I mean, if it's no, I wouldn't want to mess with anything right now.
Even with the way Johnson is inconsistent, kind of.
Well, I think Brian Johnson. I think they need to give Hurts the reins to call his own shots more.
I say
If
give it
it's
back
not
to
Hurts,
Sirianni.
give it to Kelsey. Give it to fucking Kelsey. Shit, let Kelsey run the fucking play. I bet Jason Kelsey knows more about opposing defenses than probably Brian Johnson does.
Fact. Hell, my only topic was we could do left-handed later, but I was gonna say what are your top 5 best players on bad teams? And this is all time, right? NBA and NFL. What are the superstars you look back and say, damn, if he just went over here?
Oh, perfect example. A few years ago, Christian McCaffrey on the damn Panthers.
Y'all. Y'all, for sure. For sure. And that really, if they keep McCaffrey and DJ Moore, Panthers are probably in the same picture as the Texans right now.
Oh yeah. Let's
And
look
also-
at obviously Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. It's hard to count them out of the top 5. I mean, Buccaneers
bad
always had a
team?
solid. And they weren't a great team the year before he came.
But I mean,
They-
they still won. But Tom Brady wasn't on the Bucs, so I'm talking like those who spent.
Oh,
the
who's
career,
that,
Barry Sanders, you know what I mean?
who's that baseball player this year on the Angels that set records over
Shohei
and over
Ohtani,
again?
y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely number one, and he's actually, praise to God, he's meeting with the Rangers this offseason. See if we can grab him. Larry Fitzgerald comes to mind.
If we're talking baseball, I gotta say Ken Griffey Jr. Man, I'll say Ken Griffey Jr. I say basketball. Damian Lillard comes to mind.
Allen Iverson.
Patrick Ewing. I don't know, man.
Would you-
Iverson, yeah.
Would you consider like that Vince Carter team with the Nets? Like, because I think they made the finals, they just didn't capitalize, right? They weren't necessarily a bad team, but the year before they weren't high, and the year after they were high. So,
Vince Carter, the Nets with Jason Kidd.
yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, hell, Shaq on Magic too.
They weren't a bad team. No, that was the NBA Finals team that they choked for sure.
Sure.
They just gagged that. But yeah, that's all I
Barry
got.
Sanders on the Lions way back
Yeah.
when.
Oh, Megatron. Oh yeah, Megatron.
Michael Vick on the Falcons.
Dan Marino is the Dolphins quarterback.
JJ Watt on the Texans.
Yeah.
Was Phillip Rivers count?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dwayne Wade on the Heat back in his prime.
He won a finals though.
Yeah, but Heat was terrible.
Mm.
Yeah, up until Heat picked him up, they finished 15-67. Next year they.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Damn. Did anybody else? Maybe Melo on the Knicks.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Barry Bonds way back when on the Pirates.
Okay.
Forgot about that.
That's fair.
I feel like baseball's a lot easier. 'Cause I feel like baseball's definitely.
Yeah, I could name like Mike
Shit,
Trout, Bryce
Mike
Harper.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah, I can just go on and on about
Prince
that.
Fielder when he was on the Bruins back in the day.
Yup.
Okay, and Prince Fielder, man, he could smack that shit.
Chris Paul in New Orleans.
Yeah, good one.
Hell, Russell Westbrook on the Thunder after KD left.
It's the only reason we watched. Only reason anyone watched.
Facts. All right, that's all I got. Y'all got anything else to add?
Nah.
No, that's about it. That's all I got.
All right, nah. Shit, solid episode. Get back to it next week. Catch y'all later.
Oh yeah.
Peace out.
Good talk, boys. I'll catch y'all.